Is it recording? Okay, perfect. There we go. We are recording. So, well, guys, welcome back to the tapes webinar. This is the community webinar. So, hopefully, more people will join so we can talk a little bit more. So, today we're going to be talking about the new tape calculation field. And so, give me one moment. There we go. Okay, so we will be talking about the tape calculation field, but we have a special treat today because Andrew's going to talk a little bit more about Cincello. So, Andrew, just take a little bit. You can show your screen. And
yeah, I blindsided Louise just to get 5 minutes, and I don't want to take any more than that because I have to leave at 2:30 for another call, 2:30 my time. But today is kind of an interesting day, and there's been a lot going on in the past sort of 7 days. And I just wanted to just briefly just showcase something that we're working on that's really, really super exciting. 3 brand new features for Cincello that really speak to tape as a platform and really add an enormous amount of value and features to tape. I just created, I'll share my screen. Probably, yeah, okay. I just created a post for it in the tape community. The first one being that we had a data sync for Podio previously. I've been using this for a long time for my clients, but now it supports tape as well, again, with the help of the tape team. So now you're able to go in to Cincello, go to our data sync feature, and add a tape app, and then all of that information across all fields, especially calculation fields, which is super exciting. And I'm very happy now that you can configure calculation fields off and on in terms of webhooks. Some of them are a little noisy and they'll never end up in SQL. So now you can actually save the hassle of that. So that's super cool. And then, you know, this is an example of an app that I have. As I mentioned in the post, it can be really difficult sometimes to do really complex reportings with just the API alone. Like, for instance, through relationships, you have to get the app in which you're working. So let's say it's your leads app or your contacts app. And let's say there are relationships. Well, there's no real way to roll up by relationship. You'd have to get all of the data and then put it back together yourself, which is a little challenging when you have to get a huge client list or a huge lead list. That problem goes out the window immediately with SQL. So I can come in here, open up my Chrome extension and say, using data syncs, give me a breakdown of all the items in the all fields demo app by single category. It will look up all of my connections. We have specific schema help for the tools where it can get exactly what it needs to get here. Oh, see, now it's trying to go the other route and making a fool of me. Live demo, right? You guys all know the case. See if I can just coax it into going the other direction. Here we go. So in this case, I am only doing a query of the app itself, so it's a little bit simpler. But again, you would be able to say query, and then this field connects to this relationship field, and all of that's expressed in the documentation. So it gave me that breakdown, and it barely cost me any tokens at all, and it came back instantly without having to go through an infinite chain of API calls. So SQL is the bomb, and it now supports tape, and it's on every plan as well. So even if you're on the launch plan, you can get a little bit of SQL in your life. We have updated our Chrome extension so that now you can go into automations and tape and select from all of our Cincello tools. It's built right into the UI. So you can come in here, select a tool. So let's, for instance, say I wanted to search my QuickBooks customers. Okay. Well, actually, yeah. So it's putting together now and inserting all of the necessary information into the template. This happens to be the example where we also support URL parameters where all of those drop in automatically. Frankly, I prefer this. This is just the developer brain on me where all of the JSON's laid out here, and then you can just build your flow kind of around this. So I really build workflows like this anyway, where everything is driven individually and it all gets put together at the end. That's available right now in our Chrome extension. And as soon as you put in your API key for the first time, that's a test API key, so I don't mind revealing it. then it remembers it and inserts it into the future for future use. And then the real interesting part, the huge deal, is the fact that Tim and Leo and Stefan and the team have produced an absolutely glorious API for the automation tool. And I recognize that it's still in beta, but it is so comprehensive. One thing that I really wanted to say about it off the cuff is not only can it look up and find information about automations, but also automation runs. And this is really super crucial during the building process, because now the model can build an automation, run it, use console logs to look up the information, find out what's going on, go it again, and back and forth until it's actually functional again. This is an example of a relatively complex automation that it wrote to look up a QuickBooks customer. And as you can see, we've got Syncello REST API being used here. And not only can you use it in the way I described a moment ago, but you can just call the REST API, make sure that your bearer token, your API token is available somewhere. And this one in particular searches QuickBooks customers for a match by company name. If it doesn't find one, it returns information to the contract. Now, I would have demoed this on the call, but it takes forever. So I just want to quickly go through. I just ran this about a half hour ago. I set up a very simple CRM, and I said, I want to have a web forms app where people's names and phone numbers and stuff drop in. But as we know from development, phone numbers are kind of funky. So we want to strip out all of the stuff from them except for the 10 digits. That has to go into it. We want to make sure that we eliminate duplication. So you can see Claude is connected to Syncello via MCP, and everything is happening here. It gets all the information from tape, then searches our documentation to find out how it's going to approach the automations. Again, goes back and forth until between running the automations, creating test records in order to get kind of where it needs to be. And then it did everything that I asked for. And now, just as a quick demo, you can see I'll go into our CRM test. I'll create a web form. So I'm going to put in my company name, first name, last name, email. It doesn't even matter. And phone with some stuff in it. Save that web form as if it had been inserted by a webhook or whatever. Cleaned the phone number, searched the company's app for a match. It didn't find one, so it created one. Searched the CRM for a match. It didn't find one, so it created one. And if I come in later and say new person, but it's still synchrony, and again, this doesn't matter, it will search the fact that it needs to find synchrony, and now I can see with synchrony that there are 2 contacts associated. Every automation you see just fired was built with AI. I didn't touch it at all. I didn't configure a single thing. It was all done with a single prompt. And again, I'm absolutely in great debt to the tape team for making this possible. It's something we've been dreaming of for a really, really long time. And you can go check it out yourself right now. Please test the hell out of it and let us know how you make out. So thank you, guys. Thank you for those probably longer than 5 minutes. I appreciate it.
It's okay. That is fantastic. So basically, you can chat your way into creating a workspace, basically.
You can chat your way through an entire tape system from start to finish. Workspaces, apps, fields, automations, data sync, you know, basically everything you would possibly need for a modern system you can get with plain language. And as I mentioned in that post also, we're launching a new beta for e-signatures. So this is, again, an AI-driven e-signature platform where you're able to talk to the model, build templates, say, send this to this tape user, or be in tape and point it to the records that you need. And all of that's available in the Chrome extension as well. So if anybody would like access to that beta, please reach out to us directly and we'll enable it on your account.
Oh, super nice. Super nice. Perfect. So thank you so much, Andrew, for sharing
Thank
that.
you. Thank you so much.
I'm going to try to break it. That's what I like to. I'll give you the feedback. Yeah.
Please try to break it. Please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please.
Yeah. So
one question, Andrew. What about views?
Yes, again, so thanks again to the excellent work from the tape team. We now have a full API for setting up and maintaining views as well. All of that has been boiled down and put into our MCP server as well. So if you needed the functionality of adding views or maintaining views with tape, you can do that with Cincello via any one of our services. So thank you for that as well. Thank you.
Nice. Perfect. So so let's just continue with the, with the little bit. It's supposed to be it's very basic today, but for Jason, you're still there. Perfect. Give me one moment. So Jason shared something with me about the calculations field. Let me share my screen. Okay, so okay, here we go. Okay, so okay, Jason, since you created this, can you go over exactly what you made here? Because it's really nice, though.
It all feels a bit sort of everyday and boring now after such an amazing demonstration of. And really and honestly, the long and the short of it is that you don't really need to worry about any of this, because you can just use Cincello and do it all automatically. But what I tried to do was, so the calculation field in tape has always been an amazing feature, and in my view, even from the first day that I opened tape, it was streets ahead of anything else that I'd seen in any other application. But obviously we've got the new record as well, and there has been an update since I started with tape on the runtime that's used. So I thought I'd just pull together a couple of advantages that I see with the modern tape calculation field in comparison to Podio. And I've just touched on one, which is the fact that it uses a modern version of JavaScript, which makes it a lot easier to create what you need in it, not least because you can talk to AI about it better. Because I think AI is not particularly good at understanding what there was in the past, particularly, if you see what I mean. It's much better at the now. And that gives huge advantage there. It has built-in libraries which make life a lot easier to handle things like Moment or Date FNS, if that's the way of doing it, and a number of others that are handy at different times. The fact that it can render markdown beautifully and HTML to a huge extent really nicely. You can put in links, buttons, as Lewis himself has demonstrated in the past, like you can have collapsible sections within the calculation field. And then with the new one, you've got such a nice editor now. It's difficult to explain, I think, how it takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's such a nicer way of working. It just feels nicer. It's not a very technical way of putting it, but it's just neat. It's just like it does what it's supposed to do and tells you when you've got something wrong, tells you when it doesn't like it. It's reasonably forgiving as well. So, you know, if you've forgotten to put a semicolon in at the end of the line or something like that, it tends not to complain too much. For better or for worse, I'm not sure which that is, but yeah, I just think it's generally a very nice editor, and it just pushes it even further away from any other application. And I've said Podio there, but to be honest with you, you know, Smart Suite, Airtable, all of these all have calculation fields in, and like they're just nowhere near it. That's so yeah. So that's what I was just trying to show there, really. And then this might be slightly more controversial, I suppose, migrating from Podio. I think you've got an amazing tool in Cincello there that can do it for you, and like that's going to do what basically I say needs to happen on this slide. Copying and pasting, automatically migrating Podio into tape kind of works, and that's great. But is it what you should be doing, and does it set you up for the long haul? Especially calculation fields that, in my feeling and in my experience, in something like Podio, they're such a compromise the way that they're written. They're always trying to make the application do something that it doesn't necessarily really want to do, but that you want it to do. Whereas in tape, you can do it properly and you can make it work. So all I'd say is that whilst technically you can copy and paste the calculation field from Podio into the old editor, I'm not 100% convinced about the feasibility of it in the new one. I tried it earlier today and it didn't quite work for me. But all I would say is that have a little bit of a think about what you're trying to achieve and whether actually you can do that in a better way once you're in tape. So yeah, that's all I was trying to say, really.
Perfect. That's an excellent introduction for the new tape calculation field. So I wanted to go over a post that Tim made here about the new calculation field cheat sheet, and this is awesome. So with this, I recommend everybody to go all over this part. This is an absolutely fantastic post here. So I recommend that you duplicate the workcase demo and then go over here, and then you can play around with it. So most of the people here are experts in tape, but I can go over a few stuff, but this is how it looks, the tape calculation field now. So when you click here, it looks like this fantastic thing. And one thing that I love is the full screen. So in here, what I recommend you do is like go over over this and just play around with it, because it's a lot. You can do so much stuff with the calculation field. It's crazy. It's like crazy. But what changed from before is in the old editor, it was an add. And then in here, you have everything that you can possibly have in the fields. But when you have relation fields, then it changed like with a dot, and then you got like the title, and then all, and it's gonna give me an error. It's gonna be the script returning unhandled errors. So that means this is an array. So I need to tell which one I wanna see. So I wanna see the first one. So it's gonna give me development. If I wanna see the other one, I type 1, and it changes 2, and it changes to the design phase. And I think those were the ones. Yep, only the 2. Yeah, so that's how it works now. But it's really neat. But you have many options here. Well, like I said before, let me just delete this, and you can just literally go one by one with all of this and see how it works. Tim here gave us a fantastic guide on what to do. There's so many things. But the cool thing, if I go back here, I'm gonna show you something that I did before, that you can actually have, as before, the same tables as you can add tables and dynamically. And it works exactly the same as before, but when you're making the variables, you put in the variables separate, and then you create the table, and it automatically updates the calculation, which is absolutely fantastic. So as before, go back here. Let's say that you want to do some HTML here. So go to part 2 here. And then when you click here, just look at this. This is awesome. Manipulate the text field. So let's say that you want to do like, oh my God, so many. say you want to manipulate something, you can just use any of these things here and the numbers and stuff. It's just about the new calculation field is about just playing around, just learning how to use it a little bit better. And of course, it depends on the use case. And I'm going to show you a use case that I'm actually using right now for my use case. So I have this dog portal, because one thing that I do separate from Tame, I actually train dogs and I take care of dogs, because if there's something that ChatGPT will never be able to do is take care of the dog. I dare ChatGPT to take care of a dog. Especially if it's a Siberian Husky or something like that. So I have this dog portal that I use for people. And in this, I have like the pets. This is the client, which will be John Doe. As you can see how beautiful it looks with the new layout. I have their address, the distance, whatever, and their dogs. This person has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dogs. And in here, I can keep all the information. So this is, and then I have the pets. And then I have the pets. So let's say I have this one. This is a Siberian Husky, and this is my Husky. So he's having a great time there. And in here, I have all the information about the dogs. So the way this one is organized is like, for example, the person has, I want to do a booking. So the person want to book me to do a dog boarding. So I take care of their dog. So in here, look how it works. I'm actually lock it. So this is a booking that I did before. So I have a calculation field here that calculates the total booking for that stay. So in this case, it will be $275 for the boarding. So down here in the boarding goes from the May 4th to May 9th. And it calculates everything. And here are all the related boardings. So why is this important, the related boardings? Because if I unlock the calculation, you go here. So it's actually taking all the boarding. Let me just start. So I go to the boardings, and then it's the related, because each time I do a board, that's a separate record on tape. So I can send to the client, okay, then this day, this is what happened. So that's one of the boardings. So that's the boarding. And then I'm going to do the boarding price. And then I think it was all one. How did I do it? Let me just go back. And the price and the sum. Perfect. Boarding price. What the heck did I do? And then I need the sum. Why is the sum? Because it's taking all the boardings and putting them together and giving me the result. That's how it looks. So in this case, it's a very simple calculation. But if I go here, let's say what happened on the May 4th, I can actually see that thing. And I have a calculation field here to calculate the price, because the price in this situation changes according to how many dogs the person has. So if I click here, this is the calculation. I want the price plus the pet name or that length, because that's what it will take. It will take the related pets, and it will tell me how many pets total from this thing. So if, for example, if the person had 2 dogs, it will multiply the price for the amount of dogs, and it will give me the pricing. And then down here, I have all the information, what happened that day. I got a couple of pictures. You can see here. That's one of the dogs that I took, and it's really cool. See, that was an 110-pound German Shepherd. Beast of a dog, and it was the sweetest thing. Yeah. And then I can send this to the client, and as you can see in the boardings, it's like, let's see another situation here. Here's more pictures of that doggy. That was a Chihuahua. That Chihuahua took care of all of them. It was crazy. So it's like, but this is really cool. So the next step in this booking thing, when the person books, you can actually go here, and in the boarding landing page, you can actually see like, just a very simple with the web link that tapeapp.com, where they can see how much they're going to pay and the payment method. So it's really neat. Eventually, what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be making an actual portal directly using Astro to make it a little bit better. But as you can see, the calculation field for reservation, if you're doing a reservation thing, is absolutely perfect to calculate how much. So in this situation, it would be dogs, but let's say that you have an hotel You can make how many nights the person has and how much it is, and you can do the invoices. You can do absolutely everything. So that's a one case scenario of how to use the very basic calculation field to know how much the person is going to be paying for that specific booking. Very simple. So if it works for dogs, it works for anything. So that is absolutely fantastic. So, and yeah, so very cool. And I got some other dogs here that you can see all the pictures. That one is tough. That Australian Shepherd. These are not good. These are real dogs. But anyway, yeah. So going back to what we got, let's go back to the cheat sheet. So I want to open the floor to see if anybody's has any scenarios that we can share to people that are migrating from Podio. Any scenarios that are useful that might be able to use or when they're considering Podio, because migrating from Podio to Tape because of this here. Tape right now has a fantastic Tape migration deal for 6 months free with 5 million actions guarantee. So as far as this community webinar, we gotta give the people like the why they should migrate from Podio to Tape. Not just because of this amazing offer. It's because the Tape platform is absolutely fantastic. So if anybody want to open up like on how they can use like why did they migrate from other platform to Tape, you're more than welcome. Yeah. Go ahead, John.
I'm always happy to talk about how much I love Tape. So for us, well, I think it was Tim that had originally reached out to us. Gosh, probably like 4 years ago, maybe. That feels about right. And I put it off for a little while because we had been inside of Podio for almost a decade. So the thought of moving is terrifying, right? Like you don't want to lose everything that you've built and make that wrong decision. But after following along for a little while, we ended up moving over. It was right around the time that I think there was like a solid 4 week stint where Podio was just completely unreliable. It was continuously failing, and there was no backup, nothing. Like just if something failed, it just failed. There's like they didn't have a mechanism for any of that. Yeah, and also thanks to Andrew. That was really neat. But yeah, that was when we made that jump, and it's been fantastic. I can say with certainty that we have had zero downtime since we moved over into the platform. And probably my favorite thing is how communicative the team is. Whenever there is going to be upgrades or anything like that, we know in advance. You're there in real time, letting us know through the status part of the website and inside of the forum, and that's always went seamless. Not knock on wood, but never had any issues or downtime because of that. So love the platform.
Excellent. So Jason, I'm gonna put you on the spot since you have been doing a lot of Podio work. So from Podio, I was in Podio for like 10 years maybe, and came a point that I said, oh God, no, not anymore. I was because I got nuclear mad trying to work with Podio. And then for some reason I found Tape. I don't even know how. And then here we are. Yeah. So that was 3 years ago.
I'm just like to correct you there. I have not been doing loads of Podio work. Yeah, one of the reasons is because Tape is so good, and it's I've said it all before. There is no reason in my mind not to be using Tape as a platform if you want to use that some sort of platform. It doesn't matter whether, I was an Airtable person to start with years ago, and Podio and Smart Suite, yeah, it's just pointless. Basically, is my view. When you've got a tool, the only reason for not moving to tape if you are in a different tool is the migration. And there are now, as we have seen today, lots of different ways of migrating. And so therefore, in reality, there is no reason not to move other than a lack of momentum in that direction, shall we say, or a lack of desire. It's yeah. I mean, I look at a lot of different software. I play with a lot of different systems. It's a bit fanboyish, but but yeah, there is nothing in my mind that matches tape, and to a level, it's down to the tape team, as John has said as well. So there's a level of responsiveness that that you don't get anywhere else. And things like Smart Suite are a relatively small team. I don't particularly like saying other names, but I've said a lot, so there evens out. But yeah, if in the future somebody is watching this wanting to know whether they should migrate in whatever method that they deem is suitable for them.
Yep. And one thing I want to mention about the anybody considering migration, that you have a team of people here, the tape partners that you have in the community. You can contact any one of us, and we will be able to help you out migrate, because we're all experts here, and we will be able to help you. So and honestly, it will be well worth it. Yeah, go ahead, John.
We migrated manually when we came over. There wasn't any of these solutions before, and really, it was just planning. We mapped out everything and really documented everything that we had built over that whatever decade inside of Podio. And then we kind of figured out the things that we wanted to trim or streamline, or things that were no longer serving us. So we broke all of that down, and I hopped on a call with, I don't remember if it was Tim or Leo, but I think it was Tim. And we kind of went through everything that's like, yep, that's not a blocker, that's not a blocker, that's not a blocker. And maybe it was one spot where we needed a workaround, and within a couple of weeks they came back and they're like, oh, here, we created a pathway for you. And that was amazing. And now we have all of these really cool tools from, even though the CSV export and import, that's even a huge thing right there for migrating actual data in, not to mention any of the third-party tools that exist. So, I mean, if we were able to do it without a ton of pain, I think it took us maybe 2 months doing it part-time without any tools. I can't imagine how fast it is now, especially with the team to lean on.
John, you were really early back in the days. I remember there was.
We were really early.
I doubt the import was ready when you were migrating.
No, it was not.
I'm not sure.
It was not. But it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it.
And look at that. Excellent. So I think I cover everything that I wanted to cover just briefly. Didn't want to go too technical. In the partners webinar, I will go really technical. But for now, for the community one, let's just keep it simple. And so I got a couple of questions. Do you have any triggers use case to show for the calculation fields? And for the dating, the new calculation editor states that HTML output is supported. However, inline SVG elements appear to be removed from the render output. What other HTML tags work? Is inline SVG intentionally sanitizing the new record experience, or is this a bug? If intentionally, there's a recommended way to display icons inside HTML calculation output. One SVG use case is to use some cool icons from, yep. So about the SVG, what's the issue there?
Interesting. Yeah, we need to go reproduce first and take a look. I wouldn't say it's intentional. You can just file a report in the community. RJ.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And to show a trigger use case. What do you mean by that? What is a trigger use case? Because the calculation field is so much stuff that you can do there. It depends on what exactly you want. So I build like landing pages with the calculation field. So it's really neat. So yeah. Oh, calculation used as a trigger. Oh, I see. So I don't think I have used that. I haven't have a use case that in my case that I trigger automation. No.
As a trigger for what?
Yeah.
I know that we have taken external links, right, on load the external page and then triggered things off of that, embedded those inside of calculation, like wrapped it inside of a button, so that when you click it, it opens up the new external page and it does X, Y, Z. And we've staggered that button so that it does different things based on a different category field. So it's constantly replacing the link inside of that HTML button in the calculation. I'm not sure if that's quite what RJ was referencing as an example, but I know we've done that in the past. We've done that a lot, actually. Even for like opening up emails, and pre-filling an email on an email client to reach out to a client manually, as opposed to using, doing it natively through whatever your client is instead of automation.
Okay. And that's what Stefan said about using with the today property. It's like so let's see. So what do you mean by the today?
So you've added the today has been added so that you can basically update a calculation field by adding the today. How do you describe it, Tim? Function, or it's not variable, whatever. It's like you go at today basically, and it will add it adds today into the calculation, and then that means it gets updated every night. So a calculation will only trigger something or update when there's a change. Is this? Am I getting my words out correctly, Tim? You're looking like I'm confused.
Perfect.
No, it's correct. So basically, what it does is it looks at your time zone and performs a recalculation when the day changes. So that's why it's not a now token, which would be a lie, right? Because it's a day day-based token, so it will trigger in your time zone when the day switches over to the next day, which is a workaround that we saw with large clients, also some that moved over from Podio, who did that. They had hundreds of thousands of records, and then it would have one today record with a relation to every single one of them. And then every day they would trigger an automation. I mean, there's always a workaround, right? Like you said, Jason. People find their ways, and they did find their ways with Podio, and we had that same workaround in our system for them because they moved over. This is actually a good example of what you said, Jason. This is one of these things where you should actually reconsider when you move over to activate these new features and reinterpret your use case using the new functionality that you have. But they didn't have it. Some of them didn't have it back in the day, so that's why some are still using the workaround. But for new clients, we would always recommend. Also, if you recommend tape, that's something that many people, we're looking out to have.
Perfect. I didn't know that today thing. I found out today, and what are the odds? Man, you guys been pushing so many updates. I can't keep up. With all honesty. But yeah, you guys doing an amazing work. Just got excellent. So I got everything that I wanted to discuss. Anybody wants to add anything else before we close this webinar?
I want to say one more thing.
Excellent.
No, I always want to talk.
Go ahead.
I just want to express gratitude to you guys for being so accessible. I know Jason had mentioned this. We talk about it all the time in the community. never worked with any type of a SaaS product or software, like anything on this level where the actual dev team is not just looking or taking into consideration, but actually like accessible. Like you guys are here right now inside of this community meeting. And that means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to your user base. So we appreciate that.
Excellent. Well, guys, thank you so much. For anybody that is interested in migrating from any other platform to Tape, just head to tapeapp.com, and then you will be able to see all the information, or go to community.tapeapp.com, and you can get any one of us. Just add a topic, and we will be there to help you out with the migration. And Tape platform is an amazing platform. You should put it under consideration for your future businesses ventures. So this is the Tape community webinar. Thank you so much for attending. So we will see each other in later. Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Great to have you. See you soon.
Bye-bye. Have a great evening.
Bye.